Good evening, guys, and happy Saturday to all of your sunshiny faces. I'm so tired. Oh my goodness, I have the hiccups too. I'm so tired right now. I am ready for bed. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up this morning, oh my goodness, guys. This is not gonna be easy to do while I have hiccups. I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock originally. And because I had like a bad dream, and I ended up then falling back asleep until about 8:30, I think. And I started freaking out. I don't remember what time the service for my grandpa was supposed to be. And I remember hearing something about 9 o'clock. I came in about 8:30 and was like, Kaylee, you probably want to start getting up, like, so that, you know, if you can be ready to go. I was like, do I only have like a half an hour before we have to leave? I thought we had to leave at 9 o'clock. We didn't. We needed to leave at like, I think either 9:30 or we were going to leave at 10 o'clock or 10:30 or something like that, actually. So I was actually up really early. But like I said, I originally, sorry, more hiccups. I originally fell back asleep after 7 o'clock and slept until, but it was like very light sleep. Like I sort of heard everything that was still going on in the house until about 8:30. Oh my goodness. And like I said, then at 8:30 I think I got up. So I've been up for a very long time, and I'm very tired right now and very hiccupy right now. Honestly, guys, I can't stand hiccups. They drive me absolutely crazy. So anyways, like I said, I ended up getting up somewhat early today. We ended up going to my grandpa's like mass service, which was at I believe at 11 o'clock, and then after that I think at 12:45 was our reservation. We ended up going to Olive Garden afterwards, and ended up just like having like a sort of family lunch after, and then ended up going home after that. But we didn't leave honestly until probably, I think it was like around 3 or almost 4 o'clock that maybe we finally got home. We were gone for quite some time. I felt like more at the lunch. And then we ended up, like I said, coming home, and then we ended up going to, or we didn't go anywhere. We ended up cleaning out the attic more, and we also watched the Notre Dame football game, and we also ended up watching the UFC fights, which were on tonight as well. So that is why it's currently 1 in the morning, because we watched the UFC fights, which ended up going until now. But guys, I am so excited. Well, out also too, while we were watching the UFC fights, I finished my Jewel and like Aldi list sort of, so we can go to the stores tomorrow. Because we're gonna do those 2 stores tomorrow, because obviously we couldn't today because again we had the service in the morning. And so tomorrow, like I said, we're gonna go to those 2 stores, and then on Monday we're gonna go to Valley Produce and Caputo's. So, and Jewel doesn't have really that much going on, so it should be sort of fast and easy and quick. But again, I am like super tired right now. I actually went to bed kind of early last night, like, because it was weird. Matthew fell asleep out on the couch at like 9 o'clock yesterday night, and then my parents all went to bed like somewhat earlier too, like probably by like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock or something like that. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed. And I felt like it was way later than it really was, and I was like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's 3 in the morning. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, you know, it was just everybody else went to sleep, and like even maybe Jack was still awake, but I don't know, it was just very quiet in the house. And like, even though like knowing Matthew was home, like he should have sort of still been awake, but he wasn't. He was asleep. So like, I don't know, it's just very like weird that he was like here but like asleep. And so I was like, oh, it must be really late then, like, you know. So no, but it really wasn't. I just went to bed, I felt like somewhat earlier. Like I was probably asleep before 1 o'clock last night, like around midnight or so. And then like I said, I ended up waking up today, and got up early. So I don't feel like, you know, and again, like I probably got maybe a little bit more sleep between like 7 and 8:30 when I actually woke up, but not really that well. So it was like I probably got somewhere around like 6 hours of sleep, so 6 to like maybe 7-8 hours of sleep, which is like on the low end of like the sleep I feel like I sometimes need to actually be able to function. So I was definitely tired, like more tired in the afternoon though. So Yeah, but we ended up getting the attic cleaned more, and so the side that me and Matthew cleaned already, me and my dad just sort of like re-went over everything, because a lot of stuff, like, we ended up sort of just throwing things up there or whatever, and didn't really wind up like going back through some of the stuff that was up there. And so me and my dad ended up doing that, and that didn't actually, we finished the entire like one section there, because that was really just what it was. We did a little bit of that like sort of yesterday, and like that section, but we finished like a whole probably fourth of the attic, and just that was pretty much for the most part already done, but just about in 2 days. So you know, like I said, today and yesterday, so we're moving on to like sort of another section, but we're halfway cleaned out with the attic, which I am so excited about. Like, and again, we've been donating a ton of stuff, which is awesome. And like the house, it just sort of feels like lighter, like there's not as much junk in the house, you know, and that kind of thing. But on top of that too, it's just like everything, at least in the attic now, is organized. So the stuff that is up there, even if it's not stuff that we use constantly, at least we know where it is, and it's like organized. Like, we have extra tablecloths up in the attic, which we used to keep in the laundry room, but we got too many, so it's like we can't store that many of something like in the laundry room. Our laundry room's not big enough to store that, so we have extra stuff of those in the attic in a tote, and then we have ones for like the specific holidays and the holiday totes, you know, that are also in the attic. A lot of the attic, I'd say maybe close to a fourth of the attic, is probably filled with just like holiday decorations and things like that. Maybe a little less than a fourth, but like, I think of it like the attic sectioned sort of. So maybe it's about like a sixth of the attic is like close to being like holiday sort of like decorations. It's like in the one back corner sort of, but it takes up like a good, like I said, portion of that attic in that part. So like I said, I think that I would say we're really close to being about halfway cleared out with the attic. And I feel like, especially in the spot where me and my dad were working originally, I really feel like that was the most difficult and most time consuming part. And then it will be a little bit of like the opposite of the Christmas decorations where we store them in the attic. That section will probably take, I feel like, maybe a little bit longer, but the part where when we finally get to the Christmas decorations, well, just like holiday decorations in general, that actually I feel like should be pretty quick, because for the most part, since we've been bringing stuff down, you know, for every holiday and changing it out and stuff like that, that has actually stayed somewhat organized. I'm very surprised that like we haven't really messed it up that much, but I feel like, again, it's just gonna be more of like, we need to fine tune, organize some of the stuff. Things might have fallen out of some bins that we maybe have to pick up and stuff like that. We might need to find that, you know, one box that's like a cardboard box is falling apart. Maybe we need a tote for that instead. You know, so like I said, some of that stuff I feel like will, you know, again, have to do a little bit of fine tuning with, but for the most part it's pretty much taken care of. So again, I really feel like we're sort of in like the most difficult part of cleaning the attic is sort of over. I'm hoping. We do have a lot of stuff towards like the front part of the attic, which is like the front of the house end, which is the opposite like side where you walk into like the furthest, deepest part of the attic. But a lot of that stuff is like, I know what's over there. I know that we have pictures and picture albums, which I just went through probably last year, sometime around last year. I think I was sharing that whole thing with you guys, and I literally organized all the pictures. The really tough part though is that I've been finding random loose pictures, like one loose picture here, another loose picture there. We just went through, we had a tote of like picture frames, and my mom was like, we don't need all these pictures framed anymore, or some of them were like duplicates. Like my parents had a duplicate one of like their wedding picture, the exact same picture in a different frame. My mom was like, we don't need two of these in the frame. And so she's like, we'll keep the bigger one and get rid of the smaller frame and keep like the picture. But and the same thing too with my great grandparents. They had a picture, like a portrait picture sort of taken, and my mom has a big one that's hanging in our living room right now, and she's like, look it, I found the exact same picture. It was just a smaller version in a different frame, and she's like, okay, we don't need this frame anymore, we'll just keep the picture. Like, we're not gonna put it out anymore if we already have one that's hanging up. So we ended up getting rid of a bunch of picture frames, but we have a bunch of loose pictures from that too that now I need to go through and reorganize at some point. But I also too, I think it was around like last year, maybe in January or February, I bought that 2 terabit hard drive to try and like scan all of our pictures in, which will take a huge long project to do that, but I can do that on my mom's printer, and when we do that, then I can store all of the pictures onto the hard drive and then have digital copies of all of our pictures just in case anything were to ever happen to them, because we have some really old ones from I think like the 30s that were like my great grandparents, and then even ones of my great grandparents. Like, my mom showed me one of the pictures from their wedding, which I'd seen all the time, but I never knew it was a wedding picture actually, because my great grandma didn't end up wearing an actual wedding dress because apparently they were like completely broke. They had like no money at all, so she ended up wearing like, I guess, a green sort of velvet dress or something like that. And I never knew that it was a wedding photo because she wasn't in a wedding dress. Like, my great grandpa, he looked like very like nice in a suit sort of, you know, and she looked very nice in the dress she was in. I just never knew that it was her wedding photo because, like I said, it did not look like she was, it was like a shorter dress too. It wasn't like a real long dress or anything. I had no clue it was their wedding photo ever in like all these years. So, and I'd seen the picture a ton, and my mom used to have it at our old house, like probably displayed, or maybe even when we first moved in here. But then again, she ended up like putting it in the attic and had it, like I said, in like the picture frame box. And so we ended up condensing that, made it into a smaller box because we didn't need all the stuff anymore. So again, like that's some of the stuff too that we've been doing, is that like even if we don't wind up getting rid of everything, like, oh, we don't need any of these picture frames anymore with these pictures in them, like we still have just like condensed them sort of down. So again, what was a big tote is now like a smaller tote. So yeah, like I said, guys, I'm very happy and very, you know, proud of the work that we've gotten done in the attic. My grandpa's service, it was a little like difficult, like somber sort of when he first passed away, but that was 2 years ago. And again, it was like right sort of, it was the December before the pandemic. So by the time like the holidays were over and everything like that was when we were planning it. And my dad and then his siblings ended up getting together, like I think like maybe 2 weeks or something like that before we went into lockdown. And so they're like, we can't do anything now. And then again, we haven't really been able to do anything either, a whole lot up until really, you know, like we finally ended up getting everything planned out and stuff like that. So again, we were finally able to get together for, you know, that. And like I said, it was just like a family sort of thing where it was really just like, you know, my dad and his siblings and some other like, you know, family and friends sort of just like came to the mass, but it was more like the dinner sort of, well, lunch that we ended up having was more of like just a like a family sort of thing. So yeah, like I said, it was very similar to sort of what we ended up doing for my grandma's as well, which was you know, we ended up going to her favorite pizza place afterward. So I feel like it was a lot different just because though, like, it's been like, again, over a year since he passed away, and again, like we weren't like you know, versus like my grandma who ended up living with us in our house and we saw her daily, you know, it was a little bit different than that. We just didn't see them as much, and so I felt like, you know, and again, it being like longer period of time that has passed since then, like it just felt a little bit different for me. But I believe that we're supposed to actually do the burial is going to be, I believe, maybe in December, the actual like burial. So that, I believe we're doing that on the actual like anniversary of his death. So like I said, that'll be, I think, again, at the beginning of December, I believe it was. And so yeah, but it was really good to still like see family and everything like that, because we hadn't seen anybody since definitely before the pandemic was the last time that we'd seen anybody. I actually think it was maybe at my cousin's wedding, which was the summer, I think, before the pandemic. And then again, my grandpa ended up passing away like in December, and we were planning that. And then again, we haven't really been able to do anything for like pretty much over a year. So it was really good though to see everybody. And also too, guys, I got the cheese ravioli from Olive Garden. Oh my goodness, it was so good. I've had the mushroom ravioli before, but I never had the cheese ravioli. And I don't know why, I always get Alfredo, like the fettuccine Alfredo, and every time I'm like, oh, this is really good, but like, I don't know, I think I get sick of it. Like, I always get it at Italian restaurants. When we go to the Italian Village, when we go to Olive Garden, it's all I get. And I was like, I could definitely, like, why don't I ever choose to switch it up a little bit and get like cheese ravioli is really good. And it was delicious. So yeah, there was all of that today as well. But anyways, guys, I need to take a shower and get to bed so I can get up early to get to the grocery stores to share with you guys that haul. So that will be in tomorrow's vlog. But if you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of our sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.